Hey yo, hey everyone, Andrew here, bringing you another video review, and today we're going to be doing Superman, Our Worlds at War. Take a look at this comic cover right here. Now, Superman, Our Worlds at War was a huge Superman story that had a lot of crossovers with other titles such as Young Justice or Wonder Woman. And it was a big event in Superman at the time, which dealt with a lot of stuff that was building up in the Superman comics for over a year. Now, Superman, Our Worlds at War. The basic story in this is that there's this huge, powerful being called Parallax, which was seen in previous Superman comics. Now, Parallax is this self-proclaimed demigod almost that goes around and destroys universes and galaxies and planets. And it is his self-proclaimed right to destroy Earth. Plain, flat, simple. This guy thinks he's the beginning and the end of everything. Seeing Parallax is threatening the Earth and the universes all around it, or the universe as a whole, the galaxies all around it, but the universe as a whole, Lex Luthor, President of the United States, makes an uneasy alliance with a bunch of people in the universe. An alien alliance and also an alliance with Darkseid. And Parallax sends his forces, a bunch of probes, to take on the forces of this alliance, with Superman caught in the middle. You see a lot of people fight, you see a lot of people die, and they're not small people too. And you see a lot of crossovers in this too. It's a big story, a big book, so a lot does happen. Now, even though Parallax is the main villain in this, don't think that's the only thing that happens in this. We also get an appearance of Brainiac 13, who is a very deadly foe from the future, who uses Lex Luthor's now grown-up daughter to his will to, play the stakes towards his favor. So, it's not just Parallax in this, it's also Brainiac 13. Now, that's the basic gist of the story. I mean, I could go in a lot of detail, but it would take a lot away from the reading. So let's get into the good, the bad, and whether or not you should get it. Good thing is that, well, there's a lot here to read, so it's not a boring read at all. It's always on the move, fast-paced. You're going from a Superman story to a Wonder Woman story to a Justice League story to a Young Justice story. So you're really jumping around, and almost everyone's involved in this, although some people more than others. Characters such as Green Lantern, Wonder Woman, Superman, Young Justice, Darkseid, Lex Luthor, those characters take precedence over other characters such as Flash and Batman and Martian Manhunter, who kind of stay in the background in the shadows. But it is a fast-paced story that does include about everyone in here. This also gives you the other side of war. There's obviously that side of war that is just complete battle and conflict. This also gives you the side of war, which is the lives lost and how much it affects people. You really get to see Superman fall into this downward spiral of darkness, where he just starts to lose faith in himself and in what's happening. He doesn't want to see any more friends die. He doesn't want to see any more loved ones die. And every single death that happens, he weighs it heavy on his soul. So that's also a good part. We got a rotating team of writers. However, Jeff Loeb, I believe, is the main writer in the story. I could be wrong, but I believe it was him. We also got a rotating team of artists. The art can either be very good or mediocre, but it never falls into the range of bad. This is also a very ambitious title, so I give it credit in that it's doing a big crossover event that really hasn't been done too much in DC. In that a big space battle which has climatic, devastating effects. I mean, yes, we've had that with the Crisis of Infinite Earth and other stories slightly similar to that, but it was very ambitious to do it and self-contained in the Superman title itself, with only very few crossovers with the other titles. Bad. This story was very rushed. It feels as though it resolved itself so quickly that there was really no climax in it. In that, it felt very jumpy. The one problem with having crossovers is that you obviously, it's very jagged in how you read. You're at this story, then you're this story, then you're this story, and this story. There's no real straight, narrow path in this comic. It's very jagged, for lack of a better term. So it can tend to be frustrating when reading, and trust me, I was frustrated when reading this. That, and I think they spent a lot of time on a lot of unnecessary things. It was great when I give them credit for having the theme be that, war, there's loss of lives and how it affects people, but at the same time, it was overplayed too much. There wasn't quite as much action I was hoping for. And like I said, I felt as though they rushed the ending and they really kind of pulled it out of their ass. On a whole, whether or not you should get it. Well, I have to say, this is not a bad story, but it's not a fantastic story. I would give it like a 3 out of 5 stars. It's definitely something that's necessary for picking up for Superman, especially if you're starting a Superman collection. It's a big and important story in Superman's mythos that really affects many other stories to come. Now, I'm not saying that there aren't fun points to this. There are good, fun, enjoyable points to this. But it is badly organized, and it could have been played out a little bit better. It could have not have been rushed as it was. So in saying that, I would like to see more from them. I was expecting more from this, but I guess you can ask only so much. On a whole, I do recommend picking up more out of necessity than out of recommendation that it's good. Now, like I said, this is a 3 out of 5 star book, so it's not a total loss in buying this. You can get either 2 individual paperbacks for, I believe, $19 each. I believe, I could be wrong. Or you can get the large 1 volume, which collects the whole story for about $24. I got mine at a comic store for 50% off. The one disadvantage of this book, other than itself, is that you should really read stories such as No Limits and President Lex and Till Death Do Us Part, and the stories leading up to this, because this is a story that was building up for quite some time in the Superman mythos. So this is really something that you should read other stories to kind of get into. On the whole, this is average. I want you guys to know that. Go into it knowing that it's average. Don't expect too much, but don't expect too little either. I guess going into it with low expectations would be good because it will surprise you, but I mean, that would just be me lying to you to go into low expectations. It's average, and it should be treated as an average story. So with that said, I'm going to end this review here. Superman, Our World's at War. Pick it up more out of necessity than enjoyment. This is Andrew saying peace out for now.